I got to tell you, folks, this is one of my favorite games of the year. The fact that the Kings played last night, have not played well on the second night of back-to-backs, went in against a team that they're a lot better than and took care of business, did not allow this team to stay in the game, did not allow the Charlotte Hornets to get back into the game after controlling the first half. This is a complete victory the way I expected it. A lot of positives tonight. Light the beam. The Kings get another road win. Ryan in Sacktown in just a moment.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter. Stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That is a major league smush.
And it's good to be with Ryan in Sacktown. Boy, that was a complete game. I really like what I saw tonight from the Sacramento Kings.
Grant, I'm with you. Great way to open the show. This top to bottom was the type of game that the Kings need to have on a consistent basis. And Grant, we didn't start the show saying, thank goodness the 3-ball fell tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it was very apparent in the first quarter that this King team was shooting the ball well. I mean, the final score 122-98. Everyone contributed. You know, the only guy that didn't get in the game tonight was Sasha Vezenkov. Everyone else played. So Mike Brown was able to go to the bench, able to get guys, work a lot of time on the road where you don't get a chance to practice. So you always want to see that. And again, other than Kevin Huerter, getting hurt in the first minute of the game, there were no negatives at all. This was again, this is what I expect from a good team. I expect good teams to take care of inferior teams and not let them hang around. And tonight they did not allow this team to hang around.
Yeah, Grant. And it's not even taking care of teams. It's dominating. 52 rebounds to 35, right? Yep. I mean, that's a butt kicking.
Yep.
And you see what the Kings did on a second night of a back-to-back, right?
Yep.
Something they struggle with, energy in the legs. So all positives coming from this. I do think you have to ask some questions. What's going on with Sasha? Why is he not in the rotations? Because this is a situation that he would normally be in.
Yeah, it is kind of odd that he's the only guy that didn't get in the game tonight. I would hope that somebody would ask Mike Brown that question, after the game. I would love to know myself. 123-98. This is generally the type of game where everyone plays, and he's the only one that didn't play, right?
Yeah. When Davion was going through his struggles, right? Yeah. And people were asking, is he going to be on the floor or not? And you're like, well, if it's a blowout and he doesn't play, then we know something's up. And the fact Sasha didn't play tonight seems a little weird.
Okay, so I'm going to read between the lines here. I'm going to assume that he's healthy, okay, when I make this comment. Sure. That tells me that Mike Brown is not happy with what he sees from Sasha on his off days, his workouts, his practice, things of that nature. Now, again, I may be wrong, but in my experience of being around an NBA team every day for pretty much 32 years. Whoops. Hello.
Yeah. Great.
All right. Sorry. I hit the wrong button here. But my point is that is my experience is generally something's going on with that,
Yeah, and you would know better than I would, but you don't really know what to think, what could be going on. G-Man was talking to Malik Monk after the game last night, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it was something to the degree of, we're people too. You don't know what's going on off the court. So does that affect Sasha? Could be. I mean, these guys are human beings as well. This is their workplace. But it's just one of those weird ones, Grant. And as for Sasha, I mean, with a guy like this that is technically a rookie, but really isn't, shouldn't a veteran on this team really take him under his wing if the off days aren't what they should be or at a professional level?
Yeah, they should. But again, we're speculating. I don't know that
Sure.
is the reason. And I don't want to throw a guy under the bus without knowing.
No.
I'm just saying in my experience in a game like this where everyone plays except for one guy, generally speaking, that has something to do with it. Now, again, I don't know if they'll ask Mike Brown this at the end of the game or maybe tomorrow on an off day. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. We don't want to overreact. I know I'm going out on a scenario there. But we seem to pick these little things apart as we look at this team that we think's really good according to their record, but sometimes struggles.
All right. Again, the Kings get the win, and that's the only thing that really matters, Rhino.
Amen.
That's the only thing that really matters. They get the win, but they not only get the win, but they played well in doing so. So, again, there's just a lot of positives. Again, let's not blow this thing out of proportion. Charlotte's a bad team, but this is a bad team that just spanked you a week ago on your home floor, and it's the second night of a back-to-back. Isn't it interesting that Charlotte beat Sacramento in Sacramento on the second night of a back-to-back and a tough one in Denver the night before, and the Kings played last night and came in and gave them a whooping on their home floor? Kind of funny how that works out sometimes,
Yeah, funny how that works out. NBA is a weird place sometimes, Grant.
Yeah, it sure is. So, again, the good news is Sacramento now 2-0 in this road trip. Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and after that, you close it out in Phoenix, and then you come home for 2 games, and then you're right back out on the road for the longest trip of the year.
Yeah, and the Kings seem to be getting good luck, right? Milwaukee, a team that's struggling, obviously next the Sixers, but Embiid out tonight for the Sixers. We'll monitor that situation. That's something the Kings took advantage of last year. When players sat, the Kings hopped on those situations.
Well, Embiid's got his knee is swollen. He has missed the last 2 games and is not playing tonight in Atlanta. So now understand, if you remember last year in Sacramento, he didn't play. Harden didn't play, and the Sixers came in there and still won the game. So,
they did.
But if the Kings play the way they have the last 6 quarters, with or without Embiid, they'll be in the game. Even though that's a challenging matchup for them. I think you and I have talked about that in the past. That's a difficult matchup, but we'll see. So far,
we will see.
Yeah.
And going off of this week, Grant, I feel like this week has been the week of growth for Keegan Murray. He is the missing element. He is the mid-range. Coming into this week, the Kings were 28th in mid-range in the league. Keegan tonight, how many shots did he have from the mid-range that really put the pressure on the defense and kept them honest, and he shot it efficiently?
Great point. Very, very good point. A lot of comments about Scott Pollard.
Yes.
I talk to Scott several times a week. He's one of my closest friends. I have talked a little bit about this on my shows in the past and what he is going through. I actually reached out to Scott. Well, Scott and I messaged each other 3-4 times a week, every week. And a couple of months ago, I asked him to join us here, and he goes, "Napes, I would love to, but I'm just too weak and I get winded quickly." And I've known about this for a while now, that he needed a heart transplant. I've been aware of all the testing that he's done. I've been aware of the issues that he's facing. He's a larger person. He needs a heart from a larger person. So I'm been monitoring this and talking to him about what he is going through. No male figure in the Pollard family tree has ever lived past 55. Okay.
How old, Scott?
He's now 48, I think.
Okay.
And the other aspect of this is, and I don't want to get off. This is not a political statement, okay?
Okay.
Scott's heart problems took off after he was vaccinated. Okay. Right? That's
yeah,
where
you've
I shouldn't
heard
say started. That's where they accelerated.
Yeah, you've heard similar stories. They're out there if you want to go check.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to do something for me before we get to some more folks because I hit a button in here and I'm not able to control the show right now. So
Yeah.
would you do me a favor and put up the New Works Plumbing graphic for me, please?
Oh, you know what? I am not in the administrator portal.
Oh, then don't worry about it. I'll just read it. We don't need a graphic. I do
All
want
right.
to say this because I got another nice email this morning from somebody that had a plumbing issue and they used New Works Plumbing. And they said, thank you very much. I used them because of them being a sponsor on your show. And they were great. I'm very happy with them. And I'm going to use them from now on. So that's New Works Plumbing, NEWWRXplumbing.com or SackServicePlumbing.com. They're available around the clock 24/7. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. And I always like hearing those emails. I did forward that along to New Works Plumbing. So thank you very much for your comments. All right, a big time win for Sacramento. When I mean big time, the way they played, not big time over the opponent. I like the way they played. You know how I always look at the big picture, right? I don't necessarily look at whether they win or lose. I look at how they play. I loved how they played in this game. I loved how they played.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And it goes back, and we said this at I said this at halftime, and you jumped at it a little bit because Detroit's a bad team, but the last 2 quarters in Detroit transferred over to tonight.
Yeah.
And it just, they played inside out. When this team plays inside out and has a mid-range threat, watch the hell out.
Well, I look at, and you're right. Okay. Let's hope we're talking like this after the Philadelphia and Milwaukee games because the competition is going to get a lot better.
Yeah.
You know?
It is. It is. But this team rises usually to the occasion.
Yeah.
Traditionally.
Yep. All right. Well, I appreciate the fact that everyone is chiming in with their comments. Thank you very much. I don't know what I did here. You know, it's just like I inadvertently hit a button and I have no control over the show anymore. So technology, right? I'm like Jerry Reynolds tonight. I don't know what the hell I'm doing over here, you know, and I'm afraid to try to figure it out because then I might lose the whole damn thing. You know, what I could do is I could log off and log back on if you want to just speak for a minute. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can certainly.
Would that knock you off? Would that knock you off?
Nope. I'll be good. Oh, you know what? It will, because you're the administrator.
Okay.
It will. So how about I log off and I log in under admin and you talk for a minute.
All right. Do that. Good stuff.
Perfect.
All right. So I always talk about the approach to games. Like the Kings got off the airplane in Detroit and yet they were still on the plane. Like it was inexcusable to me that you allow the Detroit Pistons to score 47 points in the first quarter, the worst team in the NBA with only 3 wins. Okay. So I was bothered by that. And I said so on the shows that I was bothered by that. You know, good teams don't allow that to happen. Now, I also said at halftime, I thought the Kings would blow out the Pistons, and they did. And that's a positive. But from the very first few minutes of this game tonight, I liked the Kings' approach. I like how they played. I liked all of that. So to me, there are no negatives other than Kevin Huerter getting hurt, but really no negatives at all. I love your comments. I always talk about this. You know, thank you very much for, you know, all your comments. So Rano, you're in the driver's seat now, huh?
I'm in the driver's seat. You can't put the comments up, huh?
I can't do anything. So I'm going to log off and log right back on. All right.
All right. Here we go. I'll give my rant for a second.
All right.
Oh,
guess what? Now I'm good.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about
You're
it. I'm
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I was just going to talk about
I'm back
betting.
on board. I'm back on
All
board.
right.
All right. I'm
Let's
back
party.
on board.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's rock and roll. All right. So we have 2 administrators here. What does that mean? Doesn't mean anything to you. Don't worry about it.
Nothing.
It just means like, you know, if Ryan got mad at me, then he could just knock me off the air and I could do the same. You know, it's little stuff like that, you know?
Tiny stuff like that. Internal chats, drops, you know.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, tomorrow we got a busy day here because at 3 o'clock tomorrow, right here on If You Don't Like That, Jerry Reynolds, Sean Salisbury talking college and NFL. Big news today. Nick Saban, Pete Carroll. How about that? Big news. Your Seahawks, Pete Carroll, very emotional press conference. Nick Saban's retiring at Alabama. We're going to talk about all of that with Sean and the first round of the NFL playoffs at 3. And then Jerry Reynolds comes on at 4. and we'll talk some more NBA with Jerry. So busy day tomorrow right here, and then I'll do a show. Tomorrow's Thursday. There's no football, so maybe I'll do an open forum show at 5:00. Maybe we'll do an open forum. Yeah, maybe we'll come. What the hell? If we're going to do it, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
Yeah. By the way, the Timberwolves and Celtics have gone to overtime. Minnesota had the lead for most of that game, and Boston caught up at the end, and they're going to overtime with that game tied at 111. The Thunder are in Miami, and they're leading the Heat 107-96. The Bulls lead the Rockets 73-66, and the Pelicans are firmly in control in the Warriors game. That game is 65-47 currently. All right. A little bit later, you have the Raptors and the Clippers. All right.
Yeah, there's going to be some movement tonight on the Western Conference leaderboard, but the Kings hold up their end of the bargain, getting another big game.
I should make a theme song for your intro. What do you think I am, a musician? I'm a sportscaster. What do you think? I'm a composer of music? Come on.
Hey, be nice to Walt. He's here every night, every show.
I'm not being nice to him. What the hell am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to compose my own music? Come on.
Sure, why not? You could do it.
He's saying this one's calling it Jim Harbaugh to the Seahawks. All right, that's the last non-basketball question. I brought it up, so that's why I allowed that.
That's fair. It's fair. Amar, I'm with you.
So if you are a musician, you make me a theme for the intro, and if I like it, I'll use it. Right?
Sure. Hey, music is kind of like art, right? You remember how they put like that banana on a canvas and it was worth like $150,000? I'll make you some music. It's just a question of whether you're going to like it.
All right. If the Kings play like tonight, we can win against the 76ers and the Bucks next. That's true, but how many times have we come on the air and said, gee, what the hell's going on with the Kings? They weren't competitive. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. I'm not blowing anything out of proportion because they just beat the Pistons and the Hornets, okay? I'm being very guarded with that, all right? I'm a musician. What kind of music do you play? All right? Can you make a theme song for us? All right? And do you want any royalties out of that? Thank you very much. I'll tell you one thing, and I mean this. We've had so many people help us along the road here doing this.
Yes, we have.
Justin makes all the graphics that you see on my X account and here on YouTube, with Ryan and Jerry and me and all the other stuff, like during the playoffs. Justin's phenomenal, what he's able to do and what he's done. And we have Max reaching out to help us with the team store. By the way, go to ifyoudon'tlikethat.com or grantnapier.com. Go to the team store, look at the merch. All right. Max has helped set up that. I've got so many other people that have reached out and said, hey, what can I do to help you? And
Chris.
Chris. I mean, Chris has been great, right? Haunted
Amazing.
Horse, up in Portland.
What is a haunted horse? What is that thing?
Anyways? I think Chris is a haunted horse. You know what I mean? That's what
maybe that. Yeah, sure. Maybe he's 1-on-1.
Ash says, no royalty necessary. I play rock music. All right. Well, see what you can do. And here's my email. All right. Here's my email. See what you can do. No rush, and we'll listen to it. And if I like it, I'll be happy to use it. And I really appreciate the fact that you even are offering that. All right. So
that's really cool.
It is very cool.
So if we had to put your signature, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball under one piece of music, you can choose. They'll give it to you royalty free. What is it?
Very simple. It would be a Wayman Tisdale song. Very simple.
Just like Jason.
I would use an upbeat song from Tizzy, and I love a lot of his music. I have a couple of songs that I think I would use, and it would definitely be a Wayman Tisdale. Yeah.
I love that. That. It's like you have one of those plays where it's like Jason Williams in slow motion. You got Tizzy on the jet.
Wow.
Good job, Napier.
Yeah. Thank you for the donation. Grant, can you add Tyreek's 3-quarter court game winner? I could, but it's not pertinent to what we're doing here. And this is if you don't like that. And I didn't say that until like way after the play. All right. Thank you, John. Thumbs up to everybody. Appreciate that. But again, I could use a lot of different calls, but I try to condense it, try to get to as many people as we can on this show, and appreciate that. But yeah, I would definitely use a Wayman Tisdale song. No question about that. All right.
I love it. Do you have a play? Do you have a play that you would go to?
Boy, I don't. There's over 32 years. There's been so many amazing plays. I'd have to really think about that. There's some that stick out in my mind, but I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I say like best play you've ever seen, like if you had darts coming out of your head with ideas, what are some of those?
I don't have that. There is not a best play that I've ever seen. Because you got to remember, I announced games in the Michael Jordan era, Magic Johnson,
Right.
Dominique Wilkins. I mean, the human highlight reel, Dominique Wilkins, right?
Yeah.
Michael, I mean, Kobe. If I'm limiting it to the Kings, good thing I don't have to speak for a living. Again, I'm talking about Spud Webb had some unbelievable plays, right? At 5'7". Reggie Theus had amazing plays back in the 80s. I mean, the Kings had a player named Dennis Hobson, who was a incredible dunker, flying through the air type of a player. Like Dennis Hobson had amazing hops, but amazing baskets. Like he would take your breath away. He would take your breath away. So,
yeah, there's always one or two of those.
Yeah,
on a team.
Otis Thorpe was great, and he's a phenomenal human being, but he wouldn't be on that list because he was a power player. But he was a power forward. He was a power player. All right, I'll tell you who is on my list though. All right, and that is Brian Bennett and his staff.
Oh yeah,
they do a great job. Bennett's 3 locations, Ryan. You and I have gone there a number of occasions. The West Side Grill in Rockland. You go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can check out the menu and more. Don't forget about their happy hour specials with apps and drinks, their weekend prime rib. They have their weekend brunch. They have it all. Just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com and check it out. Ryan, what was Brian telling you also about that he wanted to promote?
Oh, Bubbles and Brunch. $44, bottle of cava. You choose the juice, 2 entrees.
Love it.
Let's go. Sunday football. Come on.
Oh, I love it.
Nothing better.
I love it.
Better.
It's great.
Yeah. The hardest decision of that day is what is the juice going to be with the mimosa? Because now you get all these foo-foo juices. It used to be just orange juice.
Pacer still might have the best pass I've ever seen. That was the one of Bobby Jackson, right, Paul? That's the one you're referring to? That was pretty spectacular.
Where Absolutely. He barely touched it and it went like full court.
But is that Jason, the one you guys hard to beat Jason Williams and the passes that I saw with Jay Will, So, all right. Hey, love the questions. And don't forget again, Sean Salisbury tomorrow at 3, Jerry Reynolds at 4. Any Kosta Koufos stories?
Yes, I was just going to say I'm going to my administrator powers and putting this up.
All right. You ready for this story?
Yes.
I'm on the bus with Kosta Koufos, and I hear him talking about Bitcoin. And I'm like, what's Bitcoin? And he's trying to explain it to me, and I don't understand. And he's like, he goes, I just bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin. And he goes, I'm telling you, this is going to be unbelievable. And I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, so I didn't really engage in the conversation. But he bought Bitcoin when it first came out and a sizable chunk of it. Okay. Yeah. So like, even if you had bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin then.
Oh, you're filthy rich.
I mean, you'd be a millionaire today. You know what I mean? So
if you got outright, yeah.
Yeah, well, but my point is, so I was just, I remember that conversation on the bus with him. And then when Bitcoin went through the roof and it got whatever the word is today by the ET, I don't even know, but today was a big day for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's probably not going to go through the roof again. It's at what, $45,000 or $48,000. But
yeah,
he bought it in its infancy when it was like nothing. Like the very first day it came. And I remember that. And I remember thinking to myself, what the hell is that? Like I didn't even know. You know?
The Kings were trying to do something with Bitcoin. Do you remember that whole
Yeah,
thing?
they did.
You were there.
They were the first team in the league to
Right.
allow it to be used at the team store.
Exactly. You could use it in the arena.
Yeah.
So, when did you in your career notice the shift between players where it's like, hey, this is my neighbor Joe, he's going to be my agent, and players like Kosta, where he's being financially responsible and he's telling you about investment opportunities and really monitoring that money closely?
Costa's was one of the nicest, smartest, great guys to have a conversation with of anyone that I've ever met on the team. Tell you who else is sharp as a whip is Scott Pollard. Scott is a lot of people don't think that about Scott. Scott is very opinionated, but very educated, like very smart, very up to date on everything that's going on, and always loved engaging in conversation with Scott. We used to get in a lot of talks on the road and with a lot of different people, and he used to blow me away at how smart he is. He's a smart dude. He really is.
Well, he was
All right,
getting
so
into
go ahead. Yeah.
he was getting into media before he started getting really sick, right?
Yes, he was doing Kansas stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing the Kansas basketball and among other things, and was actually very close to taking a job at a Indianapolis radio station as a talk show host with another individual who's well known in Indianapolis, and eventually just didn't do it because of his health issues. So yeah, you know, yeah.
Interesting. Hopefully he's able to go back to that soon.
I hope so. We have big plans. I've told him that when this is all done, we're gonna do something very special. He's a special guy. He's just a phenomenal dad. He's so great with his kids, many of whom are grown now. His son is a junior. By the way, his son is receiving offers from universities already, not for basketball, but for football as a tight end. And Scott's took him to Notre Dame, took him to Indiana, where he's took him to his alma mater, Kansas, and he's already received some offers from some schools. So I'm very happy that Scott has been able to share that with Ozzy, because you don't know what's going to happen with a heart transplant. All right, and first of all, I don't think Scott would mind me sharing this. Scott's on his way to Vanderbilt Hospital in Nashville, which is one of the most renowned heart hospitals, heart institutes, cardiovascular institutes in the country. And he's going down there to do a series of tests. Then they put you on whatever the list is in terms of the expediting a heart. Obviously, there's a long list of criteria that go into this, and I'm not educated enough to tell you how that all works. But after that, then Scott will be placed on the list. And I asked him, I go, do you have to stay there? And he said, no, but I will have to have my phone on 24/7. And, if they find a heart that they feel is a match for me, then I'm leaving immediately and have to get to where the heart is. So first, and I said to him, we're very blessed that we live in an era where medical technology is, right? I mean, even he was explaining to me that he doesn't need a heart. Like his dad couldn't get a heart transplant. But he said to me, he goes, if my dad could have gotten a heart transplant, I don't need one now as big as he would have needed it back when he passed because of technology, because of the advancement in medicine. So
interventions that they had prior, or they have now that they didn't.
Yeah. So again,
can I say something really quick about Scott?
Yeah.
Never met him for a second, only had the pleasure of hearing stories and watching him play. But I'd like to think I'm speaking for the chat here just as a fan overall. There's certain players that embody having like that Sacramento Kings heart. That was Scott Pollard. Like he was that. If you asked who was that heart guy on that 01-02 team, it was him coming in and guarding Shaq, and it was just an intensity he brought. So it's really ironic that he needs a heart. And so I hope he gets it. And if there's anything that can be done, it happens.
Well said. Do I think the Kings 2001-2002 bench mob would beat this year's starting five? No. I mean, the starting five this year has two All-Stars, De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Do I think the bench mob from back then would beat this team? No, I don't. I think it would be a good game, but I don't think they beat them. I mean, you'd have Bobby Jackson against De'Aaron Fox, right? Go ahead. You think they would?
I was going to say both. No, I think both units would learn from each other and
Yeah.
be better units
Yeah.
before playing each other.
Yeah. So, but no, I don't. I don't. All right. Again, we really appreciate everybody joining us right here. Don't forget tomorrow, Sean Salisbury coming your way at 3, and then Jerry Reynolds is going to be on at 4:00. So that's all coming up on the show tomorrow. Really appreciate everyone's support. And if you get a moment, go to CalusaSunrise.com and check out everything that they have at Sunrise Landing, a Belazona development project. All right. That's right. Sunrise Landing in Calusa. You go to CalusaSunrise.com. 6 models in all to choose from. Phase 1 already sold out. Now, there's no Melrose. There's no homeowners out there at Calusa Sunrise. All right. Sunrise Landing. Here it is from Belazona Development. And if you go to CalusaSunrise.com, you will get all the information. You can schedule a home tour like one of our viewers did
Christmas
recently.
Eve.
Yeah, it was great. So
Christmas Eve.
said he loved it, said it was great, said the staff out there was phenomenal. That is Calusa Sunrise. All right, back to the game for a minute. This performance tonight, even though it was against a bad team, I said this at the beginning of the show, is one of my favorites of the year. I just loved their approach to everything. I just loved how the Kings approached this game, how they executed this game, how they went about it. And this is, we always talk about the games that I don't like. I really like this game a lot. By the way, it looks like Boston is going to beat Minnesota 125-120 with 12. Now it's 127-120, so they're going to win. That's a bad loss for Minnesota. They had this game in their bag, and they lost it in Boston. So Boston is going to beat the best in the East, is going to beat the best in the West in Boston.
And it's not the first time Minnesota has squandered a big lead.
That's right.
A big lead. So keep an eye on that. That could be a problem.
And the Thunder, Ryan, are going to end up winning in Miami. They're up 10 with 1:45 left. So I'm going to call that game and say that they are going to win. So, we'll see. We'll see.
The Thunder are legit, Grant. The Thunder are legit. I know the Josh Giddey situation still looming, but with the trade deadline looming as well, the thought of them getting better. Watch out.
What did I tell you a couple of months ago about that? All right, and
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
And here's what I said. My experience in dealing with these behind the scenes issues, and what I mean behind the scenes, I'm talking about what does not actually happen on the court. Okay, I'm not minimizing the allegations. All right, so I don't want people to misconstrue saying behind the scenes means like what you don't see. Okay. My experience in these situations is that the league and the team know the truth. And because they know the truth, they're allowing this individual to continue on. Okay? Unlike the Trevor Bauer story. All right? Big difference. This particular allegation is unbelievably disturbing, but the teams in the league have their own investigators that go out and do things that you're not even privy to. And my feeling, and this is only my opinion, it's not based on any facts, it's just based on me being involved in pro sports. And I could be wrong, but I told you this months ago. My feeling is that they feel that based on their preliminary investigations and what they know, that Josh Giddey is not guilty of what he's being accused of. Because this is such a serious allegation, having sexual relations with a minor, that the league would not allow this individual to continue if they felt that the story was not only true, but they had their own facts with their own investigators to back that up. That's what they would do in that situation, Ryan. They would suspend the player indefinitely on administrative leave, which means that player would still get paid. See the difference here?
100%. Where would the line be, just with your feeling from being in basketball, if the league had their investigation, but they had a quote unquote victim that was not cooperating? What would your gut feeling be then?
My gut feeling is they would allow the individual to play. That would be my gut feeling.
You think he'd be playing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So my own personal feeling, and again, this is only, all right, this is all based on my experience with the Kings. I believe that the administration of the Oklahoma City Thunder know the truth and are comfortable with the facts that they have been able to ascertain in allowing him to continue to play. Because these are such serious allegations that you wouldn't allow a player to continue to play if you felt that he was guilty of that. So that's it. All right.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Ash, enjoy your band practice. Maybe a practice
Yes.
you can make a song for us. All right. There you have it. There you have it.
I'm excited. What is this song going to sound like?
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Any thoughts about the Toronto game last night? I didn't watch it like you did. You stayed up until what? You stayed up until 9 a.m. watching that game. I didn't watch the game. I saw the press conference afterwards. I can't really comment on it because I didn't watch the game. So
yeah, I didn't watch it. No comment. But I do have a comment on what you said, my friend. You
What's that?
said when he fell asleep. He hasn't been asleep yet. Come on. He's still been awake since yesterday.
I do know Coach Darko was crazy after the game. Yes, I did see that. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, a lot of positives. I want to say thank you to everyone for being on these shows the last 24 hours. Really, last night I put it up on social media, including everything else. We had almost 13,000 people watching via X and here on YouTube. And then I go back and I post the show on an audio format on my podcast platform, and we had a very good number on that. I just looked at it before we came on, so 4 digits. So I appreciate it. Ryan appreciates it. Jerry appreciates it. And we'll do it tomorrow, 3 o'clock with Sean Salisbury and 4 o'clock. And then maybe I'll pop on at 5 o'clock and do an open forum show. You never know,
There we go. There you go. Stay tuned. That will be fun. Can't wait to hear from Sean about the playoff and the playoffs.
Scott should see a functional doctor. Scott has seen all the doctors that he can possibly see. All right. He's got a serious heart issue. So I don't think that they would give Scott a heart as a heart transplant donor system that he has to wait for if they didn't feel that he needed one. All right. Appreciate the information though. All right. Rhino, good job today,
yes,
buddy.
Sir.
Appreciate you.
My pleasure. It's always fun.
And to everyone else out there, keep that beam lit. Next up, Philadelphia. We'll be with you. Again, join me tomorrow. Ryan as well, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and who knows, maybe 5 o'clock. I mean, if I'm going to do it, let's do it. Let's do it right? Oh, boy. See you, buddy. And to everyone else, thank you very much for your support. Talk to you.